What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Shedeur Sanders, right? And not just Shedeur Sanders, but Jason Whitlock. Hey, he had some comments about Shedeur Sanders and what Rex Ryan had to say about Shedeur Sanders. And my thing is, I think that a lot of times people need to, instead of talking all the time, they need to just like put their head down, get the work done, and focus on like what your mission is. You know, it's cool to have confidence, and it's good to have confidence, and it's good to know what you know, but you still got to put the work in, and you got to be able to show people, right? And I think when you get the opportunity to prove that you can do the job, as Shedeur Sanders, that's what he want to do. And I know it's probably frustrating for him, but he just gotta focus and 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 stop making all these public statements, because all he do when he make public statements, in my opinion, is just give people more ammunition to push back on, right? And then so that's what's starting to like sometimes when you do say stuff publicly, people will be like, "Oh yeah, he's confident, he's cocky, and that's a good sign." But after a while, it gets annoying, especially he's doing it from the bench. He's not even a starting quarterback. And I've never really seen a second string quarterback, and let alone a third string quarterback, like really give statements about at all. No statements about nothing. And so now Shedeur Sanders is he kind of like losing some of the little bit of support that he did have. He's losing that. Rex Ryan came forward and said, cut it without cut out all the talking and just wait until you get the opportunity and show everybody. And so I'm gonna play what 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 Jason Whitlock had to say about the situation. And Jason, because he's reacting to what Rex Ryan's saying. So I'm gonna listen to this and come back and give my commentary.
Sanders on blast. Let's hear from Rex Sanders on ESPN. This is good stuff from Rex. Play the clip.
Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach. All right. But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy, or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
We'll see if they make a change there. And
Woo. That's a great piece of television.
I can agree with that, right? You just, because the time that you spend like worrying about not starting, the time that you spend giving interviews and stuff like that, you could be focusing on getting better. Like he said, like study, practice as much as you can. And then when you get the opportunity, then you have to shine. But if you're giving these words, all this stuff can come back to bite you when if you don't perform. And so let me hear what Jason Whitlock and his co-hosts have to say about what Rex Ryan said.
And from Rex Ryan, hats off to Rex and ESPN. So we're finally, this speaks to a cultural change. This is a black quarterback he's talking about, and he's talking pretty salty and spicy about him. And I think he's talking accurately about him. He said, if I know other coaches around the league are talking about it, you're lazy, you're not a leader, you're not at the front of the meeting room, soaking up everything you can. You're whining.
Now, Rex Ryan didn't say all that. He didn't say he was lazy. But I just think that, like, if you're in that front of that room and you studying and you working hard, like, that will, other people who see that, that'll get around.
And complaining that you're not the starting quarterback. Hats off to Rex Ryan. Steve, your thoughts?
Well, Jason, I have a question for you. Do you blame the media for continually asking and putting a microphone in front of a third string quarterback. I don't get it. It's like, I barely want to talk to the backup. I don't want to talk to the backup of the backup. I don't know what he has to say. Or do you blame it on Shedeur for not having better self-awareness to go into cliche mode?
Here's what I blame Stefanski and the Browns locker room, because I think, and TJ, you correct me if I'm wrong, Bill Belichick would stand in front of his team, and I don't care if you don't have 6 Super Bowls, you should coach like you have 6 Super Bowls or plan to. And I would stand up in front of the room and say, why am I getting asked questions about a third string quarterback?
Yeah, that's a good point, right? A lot of the veteran coaches, the old school coaches, no way would you be able to, as a third string quarterback, be able to get interviewed and make statements and stuff like that. It would just be, that's unheard of. But I don't know. I guess this is that new social media age, right?
And again, this is the week they just won a game the week before. And I'm like, hey, why am I getting, this guy didn't take the field. Why am I getting questions about you? And I would look at my locker, hey, guys, y'all got to fix this. We got someone here in this locker room that can't tell reporters that, hey, I'm just doing everything I can to give the defense a good look on the scout team. And man, I'm just so thankful to be in this league and learning from this cast of veterans. And I just want to support them the best that I can. And the locker room should take care of that. There are policies inside locker rooms where there are fines, financial fines among offensive linemen for even getting quoted anywhere.
Yes.
You should be seen and not heard. And
I think that's a good strategy, especially for a young ball player, because you don't need the distractions. The team don't need the distractions. You need to be focused. The team need to be focused. And so, but a lot of this new social media age is a lot of people is getting away from that, right? But they're going to find people found out the hard way that to be seen is not always the way to go. And so I agree with that.
Third stringer like Shedeur, somebody needs to be penalizing him for us even having to talk about him. You're a third stringer. Grab my luggage and shut your mouth. And TJ, am I wrong here?
It's a great point. No, you're exactly right. Okay, so we all can agree that I'm a nobody. I've never been anybody. That is, we'll just agree on this up front. Belichick also agreed. Okay, I was a nobody as it related to the Patriots. I was an undrafted free agent. I came in there for a short time. They had media stuff for rookies. And one of the people in the media asked me, hey, you played quarterback in high school. Do you think the Patriots, what do you think they may have been thinking, when they drafted you, that, you could find some open slots, maybe be on the same page as Tom a little more because you kind of know what the quarterback's thinking. And I don't remember what I said, but I said something like, they may have been thinking this. And Belichick, in front of the whole team, of which, again, I'm a nobody, so he's just making an example out of me, destroyed me and said, hey, TJ Moe, how about you don't ever suggest that you have the slightest idea about what the Patriots might be thinking. You speak for you. That is it. Okay, and this is why Rob Gronkowski all the time sounded like a complete idiot in front of the media, because he would sit in there and try to repeat whatever Belichick told him to say in the meetings. And so he would say something like, Gronk could cover 2 football. Okay, Belichick actually went over what your answers had to be and talked about what you can say, what you can't say, and who should even be speaking to the media. Because that is another thing. Why are we making him available? Right? It's like, what? You don't have to talk to the media all the time. You say, hey, third string quarterback's not available today. He's not talking. So yes, you're exactly right. And Belichick probably overdid it. But again, to make an example out of a undrafted free agent that was unlikely to make the team and ended up on injured reserve, that is how serious they took that. And this would not be happening if he was playing for Belichick.
Let's see, a lot of times that won't fly today because everybody was like, freedom of speech. I have the right to say this and the right to say that. When just because you have the right to do it don't mean that that's the correct thing to do. And so people don't understand that sometimes less, the less you say, the better. And it's not really, and people have been saying this even before Shedeur Sanders got into the league, like, how much attention is he going to bring to that locker room? How much of a distraction is he going to be? And so, but young people, everybody just think that just because somebody put a microphone in your face that it's appropriate to have an opinion or to give your opinion. Even in real life, and not playing football or no sport like that, it's not always necessary and really not always advisable for somebody to know like what's on your mind, what your plans are, what you got going on, what you get ready to do. It don't work like that. You hold certain things close to the vest and you just work towards whatever your goals are.
Although who knows these days, because Jordan Hudson's running things.
TJ, to your point, Brandon Merriweather, when he was a rookie, one of my guys from the U, actually gave a bunch of cliched compliments to an opposing player. It was just garden variety stuff. And at the next meeting, Belichick said, "Who the f are you to say anything about anybody? You're a rookie." And TJ, this was a first-round draft choice that started every game on that 2017. So he had that standard for everybody. But on the flip side, Shedeur Sanders, that statement he gave overall, that's about as bad as his father's clock management. Really, it's just like, do you have any self-awareness? Good grief.
I do understand where the questions are coming from. It's from ESPN to anybody on YouTube, including me and TJ and Steve. We understand that there's clicks and traction in Shedeur Sanders. And so rather than dealing with reality, that Dillon Gabriel is the backup quarterback and he's the next man up and they may be getting to the next man up this week, instead of asking about Dillon Gabriel, because everybody knows, well, the click and traction's in Shedeur. And so we want Shedeur Sanders out there playing because
all right, so but that's still Shedeur Sanders. He's falling for it. Like I said, just because they put a microphone in your face don't mean that you need to talk. Just because they ask you a question don't mean that you need to, you need to be out there giving answers and stuff like that. I remember like in college basketball, freshman basketball players couldn't even give interviews. You was not allowed to speak publicly as a freshman. And part of that was to protect the player. And part of that is that like you as a freshman, you wasn't really media trained. And so you certain things you have to earn. But everybody want to be given everything up front. You want to be able to have a right to speak for the team, the right to speak your mind and stuff like that. It's like when adults are having conversations and you got a kid sitting there and the kid just interject. And so everybody in the room are look like, whoa, what, but the people forget how important like listening is and observing and learning that way. They think as soon as they have something on their mind that it need to be expressed, and that's definitely not the way to go in most cases. And so Shedeur Sanders, only way his father was able to get away with that is because he was an exceptional athlete. But other than that, people just need to he need to just really stay focused. And when he get his opportunity, if he don't perform, stuff like there's just more people can pile on. And so that's my take on it. I agree with what Jason Whitlock and his panel said, about the situation. I just think Shedeur should just just don't give interviews and just stay focused. I think he's talking his way out of the league, and so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.